I went to Japan a couple months ago and it was an amazing trip. I saw a lot of amazing things. And I also saw something weird. There are almost no public garbage cans in Japan, like on the streets. And Japan, if you've heard, it's really, really clean there. So how does that work? The lack of garbage cans and really clean spaces. Let's dig into that. Hey, I'm Wayne, I'm a designer, and I'm just here to make videos about whatever the heck interests me. And today, it is my recent trip to Japan and why there are no public garbage cans. I went to a couple different cities, from Osaka to Kyoto to Tokyo, and some smaller places up in the mountains as well. And it was true for all of them. They had very, very few garbage cans. It was super hard to find a garbage can in public to get rid of something. And they were all really, really clean spaces. So I'm trying to figure out, how is that possible? Because that's different from how things work in other cities I've been to in the world. More garbage cans usually means it's cleaner because you've made it more convenient to get rid of something. But Japan doesn't seem to be true. So let's get further into this. Here's a clip of me walking through Kanazawa, which is a beautiful city in Japan, one of the smaller ones. And I was walking around with my convenience store breakfast, and I couldn't find any place to get rid of the wrappers afterwards. I searched around for like half an hour just walking through the city, which was fun because it's a beautiful city, but it was still weird. And that was the day that I realized, oh, everywhere I'd been to, this has actually been a thing. I've just been carrying around my stuff, my garbage, this entire time. So what was the deal with that? Maybe I should look into this, is what I was thinking. So here's my approach on this. I wanted to look into two different angles. The first is, if you've heard about how clean Japan is, then that behavior comes from the people and that starts somewhere. So I wanted to find out, is there any really good contributing factor that I can put up here and share with all of you? So that's one, the human behavior part of it. The second is the urban design part. So there are almost no garbage cans in public. Were there always no garbage cans in public in Japan, or was there a point where they optimized down because they realized they could do better with just less garbage cans? I didn't know, so gonna look into that too. But let's start with the human behavior part of this. The cleanliness of Japan is kind of memed at this point. You might have seen this misleading clip on how the gutters are so clean that they have koi fish in them. That's not everywhere, that's just in one city called Shimabara. It's like a tourist attraction thing of their city. They work really hard to make this work for them. So that's not everywhere at all. But other cities are definitely really clean. One of the best recent examples of this was during the World Cup. In matches with Japan, Japanese fans would be cleaning up the stadium afterwards. So this went viral across the web. If you watch any sports at all, then you probably haven't seen this, definitely not from fan bases I'm part of or stadiums I've been to. It seems really, really rare. So there's a good reason that that stuff went viral. So where did that positive behavior start for Japanese citizens? Here's what I think might be one of the biggest contributors to that positive behavior. Starting from the first grade, students in Japan are responsible for cleaning their school. From first grade and onwards, 4 days a week, after lunch they do about 20 minutes of cleaning. There's also a bigger cleaning session at the end of seasons too. This practice continues through all their years in school, which, when you add that all up, probably pretty habit forming. You might have read online that this is so effective that Japanese schools don't even have janitors. That's not quite true. They don't have people with the title janitor, but they have non-teaching staff who do more of an all-around role. They do some cleaning, maintenance, and they also act as crossing guards. So if you look at the kids doing the cleaning, yeah, they're adorable and they're doing their best, I'm sure, but they're probably not doing that great of a job. So you'll need someone who's actually paid to go in and finish that up and do a proper job of that, which is fine because this isn't about making the place entirely clean without the usage of specialized labor. It's about teaching these kids good habits and responsibility around their environments. So when we step back and we look at how these kids are starting this strong routine of cleaning their public spaces with their peers through their entire academic life, and then we look at the stadium where they're cleaning up a stadium in a completely different part of the world, that seems to make sense. Like there's a good, strong connection there. So in terms of human behavior, I think we can check that one off for now. There's probably a lot more in terms of cultural background and other behaviors, but this is a nice one to check off the box. Let's get back to the urban design because they are still very few garbage cans in Japan. So historically, was this always a thing or not? So when I started digging, I found out what the basis was here, and it was a lot more grim than I thought it was going to be. Prior to 1995, there were plenty of garbage cans in public spaces. Same design pattern you'd see anywhere else in the world. But in 1995, there was also the worst terrorist attack in the history of Japan. It was Monday morning, March 20th of 1995, when a religious cult enacted 5 coordinated attacks across 3 subway lines in Tokyo. The terrorists planted bags of liquid sarin in 5 subway cars across 3 lines. The bags they planted were camouflaged with newspapers or magazines, and as the terrorists were leaving, they punctured the bags so the liquid sarin would evaporate and then disperse without any scent. In the end, there were 14 deaths, over 5,000 injuries, and 1,000 of them were seriously injured in the attack. So you might have noticed from that description, garbage cans weren't actually used in this attack. But like almost any city terrorist attack in the world, garbage cans were taken away afterwards because they are a potential vector for a follow-up attack, and you don't know if the attack is over, so you try and get rid of them. Garbage cans could hide explosives or other hazardous chemicals, like in this case here with sarin liquid. So Japan got rid of them. They got rid of them, and in the wake of that, most cities would eventually bring them back because you're probably going to see an increase in litter because there's nowhere to get rid of garbage. But in Japan, there wasn't much garbage. It was fine. So it seemed like they stuck with it. They stuck with it for well over a decade. From 1995 to 2006, that's when you started seeing a few more garbage cans returning to places like train stations, which are major hubs. But that's about it. They never came back in large numbers. People are really good at holding onto the garbage and just taking it with them to whatever their destination was, whether it's going to be home or work or whatever. And by late 2022, when I visited, which is 27 years after the attack, there's still very few garbage cans in public spaces in Japan. From a municipal standpoint, this is really great because there's a lot less sanitation work to do as well. Workers don't have to go around the city cleaning out garbage cans and moving the bags around. It's just a reduction of work too. The only regular disposal you will see is for recyclables like bottles and cans, and those are almost always next to vending machines, which are all over the cities and rural areas as well, so you always know where they're going to be. But again, regular garbage cans, not nearly as much. So to sum things up, the reason that Japan has very few garbage cans in public is a combination of good social behavior, driven by things like adorable kids learning good cleaning in school, and also a horrific terrorist attack in 1995 in Tokyo. Didn't really expect that when I started digging, but here we are. And that's why there are so few garbage cans in Japan. All right, that's the video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give us a like down below. I said us, it's just me. I would appreciate that. I've been on a break for a little bit, trying to just get some gears going up here, but I'm excited to be back, and I'm going to be really trying my best to put out some regular videos out there that are hopefully of interest to people, and I'm hopefully going to be learning what other people like as well for them to see. So thanks for watching once again. I'm Wayne, and take care out there. Bye.